Hello, Korechka14NK here has given me a very good question. I have my finals coming up in less than a month. Are you able to aid me in tracking and tackling exam stress? I feel as if I'll fail and believe that a teacher like you could be of some assistance. Thanks. And Selena Rahman has also said, yes, this will be very good. So I'll try. The first thing you need to know is that there are no definite ways of coping with exam stress, but there are trial and error ways that you should try, and there are some techniques that are more likely to succeed than others. A search on the internet will give you plenty of advice, particularly from psychologists, but what they don't offer is evidence. And so a lot of it is based on assumption. Well, given that, I'm going to give you 17 things that I tried with my own children who are still doing exams. They're both at university. And you can pick and choose. But this bit at the top is true for everyone. Stress happens when you don't feel in control. So what you need is a method of feeling in control even when you're in under pressure. And that's what these 17 techniques are for. Number one, breathe. Now this might sound stupid, but one of the enemies of relaxation is a faster heart rate, which of course you get when you're stressed. And the easiest way to reduce your heart rate is actually to breathe more deeply and more slowly. Feel it in your stomach. There are plenty of yoga videos on YouTube, for example, where you can practice this, and it genuinely does work. And both my children have done bits of yoga during exam periods. Secondly, revise in proper bursts of 20 minutes, and that means total focus, no social media, no music, no distractions, but not a massive amount of time. And your brain will assimilate stuff in 20 minutes. You will feel in control because it's not killing you. 20 minutes isn't long. And then each time you have a little break and go back to 20 minutes, again, it's not stressful. You know it's going to be over in 20 minutes. Don't break this rule unless you are doing an exam paper. So if you know you have a 2-hour exam, you might say, well, you'll do an hour of it. Or you might build up and say, no, you'll do the full 2 hours. But that won't be constant. And you'll do that where you feel the need to. Or you might be a person who really benefits from doing longer stretches of revision. However, you might not benefit from it. That might be what's causing you stress. So my daughter, for example, went to college with a student that I used to teach, who was a brilliant student, who worked really hard at her GCSEs. But when she got to her A-levels, she worked too hard, and the stress of working so hard actually resulted in her doing less well at the A-levels. She should have got marks much higher than my daughter, but she didn't, because my daughter had a better way of revising that reduced stress. The next thing you need to do is play. Whatever you consider to be play, you build that in as a reward. So that's not something you do instead of revising. You do it as a reward after your sessions of revision. Freeing up your mind to do something completely unconnected is not laziness. It actually gives your mind time to process what you've been learning. And play is rewarding in itself. It will elevate your mood. Don't revise after 10 p.m. if it's a school night, because it will keep you awake too long. You won't get enough sleep, and that's a major cause of stress. If you're lying in bed not able to go to sleep, you will not feel in control, and your stress will be increased. So on a school night, stop revising by 10. Learning is a social activity, and shutting yourself away on your own will lead to stress. So get friends to test you. that has another benefit in that you will keep getting better, and you will see yourself keep getting better because your test scores will go up. And this will be just testing of facts. The other benefit is that you will test them, which feels less stressful, but as you're testing them, you're also rehearsing the things that you need to remember. So you feel more in control because you will learn more without actually feeling under any sort of pressure. Number 7 is a technique taught to me by my son, which I'll illustrate with maths papers. And so what he'd do is he'd sit down and do a full maths paper. And obviously there are some topics that he did fine on. And so he would ignore them. So the next maths paper he did he'd only answer the questions on the topics that he'd done less well on. And after about 5 maths papers, obviously he was down to very few topics that he had to keep redoing. That's a very good psychological way to feel in control because you're doing less and less each time you have a test. It's a kind of measure of how much better you're getting. Give questions to your teacher. As a teacher, I'm always thrilled when my students have done some extra work. And there is some reward, I think, for you as a student of having your teacher exclaim how wonderful it is that you're doing this kind of revision. That will make you feel confident in yourself. It will make you feel in control again, that you're doing more revision than other students, or better revision than other students, even if it's not more, and you'll just feel less stressed as a result. Measure your progress. So don't revise just by reading through stuff, because that just eats up the hours and doesn't actually improve your memory. But if you actually test yourself and keep redoing things, you will inevitably get better. And that relieves stress because you can see that you're working towards something. Even if you're not getting the marks you want yet, each time you do the test, you get better and better. Another major way to make stress disappear is to make lessons count. If you treat your lessons as revision, then you are in control of what you're learning and you will have less to revise. You know, when you do the past paper, you'll get less and less wrong much more quickly if you've made your lessons count. Number 11, do a sport or exercise. Again, that's like play. It frees up your mind, but it also dramatically improves your breathing. It will give you the ability to be calm, to recover from a high heart rate, and obviously you get endorphins from sport or exercise, which will increase your sense of well-being. Many treatments for depression, which involve drugs, have been shown to be no more effective than giving depressed people sport and exercise. It is that powerful. Number 12, have music as a reward, not in the background. If you have it in the background, your mind will keep drifting to it. In your 20 minutes, you will therefore do less work and you will therefore feel less in control because you've achieved less. So just have the music as a reward, not during study. Force yourself out into the sunshine. Obviously, there are lots of benefits in getting vitamin D, but there's also a massive increase in mood. If you get the sun on your face, you will genuinely feel better. Don't do it for ages and ages because then you will lose control, thinking you should have been revising, but treat yourself. Make or craft something pleasurable to do with your revision. So you can put a lot of effort into a mind map, different colours, little pictures, similarly with a timeline, or your very neatest handwriting in revision cards. That element of craftsmanship is another way of giving your mind time to play. You're not necessarily thinking too much about what you're writing because you're thinking about the pleasure of making it beautiful. However, your mind is still studying this stuff, but it won't feel as though it's studying it. Again, you will feel more in control of your learning. Tell your family about your successes, and that means you need to look for success. Yes, you might only have got 20% the first time you did the test, but the next time you got 35, and the next time you got 47, and so on. Share those successes so that you can get a continued sense of how you're getting better. Hug your parents. I know this might sound a bit bizarre, but when you're stressed, they will be stressed as well, which will add to your stress. You'll feed off each other. But if you hug your parents, this will happen. You will breathe better, so will they. They will feel that you're getting less stressed, and so they will be less stressed on your behalf. It will create a virtual circle. Now, this is my final one, and it's the most important. These are just GCSEs. Now, this might be a difficult message for you to accept. GCSEs feel stressful because they arrive all at the same time. But let's take a step back here. For most of you, you're going to be able to do your A-level subjects because you'll get at least a C at GCSE. That's just a fact. In other words, being able to do the courses that you want at A-level is very likely to happen for you, even if you don't get the grades that you want. And so it's not worth stressing about the GCSE grade in terms of your future. Really, you need to look at the GCSEs as an opportunity for you to see how well you can revise. So you want to do your best simply for yourself, for its own sake, if you like. The reason that will reduce your stress is it puts you back in control. You're just doing the GCSE for yourself here to do as well as you can possibly do, not because it's going to lead to your parents' approval, or not because it's going to lead to their disapproval, or because you really need 5 A's and 2 A stars because that's what your friends are going to get. That won't matter. All you need is enough to get onto the A-level course or the course that you're after. And for most of you, you will definitely get those grades. The stress comes if you put too much pressure on yourself. Now, ironically, by stressing yourself less, you're much more likely to get the higher grades because you will keep doing all this. If you put more pressure on yourself, you will end up revising for longer and longer periods, but learning less and less from it. Why? Well, when you're stressed, your body produces cortisol and adrenaline, which put you in the fight or flight mechanism, and they just make you want to run away. That's the enemy of learning. So that if you work too hard, you will actually add to your stress and prevent yourself learning during those extra hours that you're spending revising. So I hope you found that helpful. It's quite a long list of things. As I said at the beginning, dip into the ones that you think you can do, and you'll find rewards straight away, I'm sure. If you'd like more help with your revision, don't forget to subscribe, and good luck.